Another report from James O'Keefe. So here it is. This is breaking. Alan, if you would read this, I'm going to zoom in and the video. If you would read this right here.
Breaking. It's the unspoken thing for children to see LGBT content. It says Walt Disney's creative marketing director and drag queen, Genie Gurnani, into O'Keefe Media Group's hidden camera. Gurnani adds, "I'd love to get a drag queen at Disneyland," furthering, "I'm sure that would happen at some point." Gurnani insists Bob Iger is not axing LGBTQ content at all, supporting concerns that Disney is ramping up their LGBTQ content, influenced by DEI hiring practices and the inclusion of forced diverse storylines.
All right, we'll watch the beginning of this video. Alan, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Put it full screen here. We're going to react to it. This is the person that you referenced in the tweet. Mm-hmm. That's from James O'Keefe's Twitter.
I should say the upfront is kind of the intro to this, and then he gets into the conversation.
Yeah, once we get past, we won't play the whole thing, just the intro, which gives you a synopsis. So let's look at it really quick here. This is Genie Gurnani, creative marketing director, Disney Entertainment TV. Here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Here we are.
Genie Gurnani, the creative marketing director at Disney, was asked about allowing LGBTQ content to be shown to children. Genie agreed that he wants children to see the content and that it is, quote, the unspoken thing.
I despise those kind of people that want to accuse of Disney of grooming children. But I also want children to see LGBTQ content. Don't you agree?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That's the unspoken thing. Am I going to see a drag queen at Disneyland or anything like that? Do you want to do that? Get a drag queen at Disneyland.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
I'm sure that would happen at some point.
When asked by our OMG undercover journalist if he would authorize drag queens to be present at Disneyland, where children are, mind you, Genie the drag queen said, well, he would love to, and it will happen at some point. From classic Disney princesses to drag queens, the transformation of children's programming at the Walt Disney Company is happening. Welcome to the third installment of the Disney Tapes. As we
comment on that, Alan, if you would, from what we've seen so far. This is sort of a tease of what we'll see. The whole report is 12 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. We've known this has been happening. We know that the conversation has been had. It goes back to Frozen, where people would talk about Elsa being lesbian, and I kind of brush that off as people just seeing what they want to see, especially those who kind of see the LGBT agenda growing and think it's bigger than it is. And then from the D-Files, I learned, oh no, those actual conversations did happen, and it's not like they're going to do it, but it's in their back pocket if they wanted to. So the thing that I was thinking about while watching this was, it's not like the drag queen audience is there to make money for their, I mean, how many kids do they have that they want them to go onto Disney Plus, Disney Channel and see drag queens there? More or less, this is Disney imposing the LGBTQ agenda on parents without, and just making that decision and not even doing the research and saying, do parents really want this? Do parents really want their kids exposed to this? They're just saying, no, parents are homophobic if they don't want their kids exposed to it, so we're going to do it for them anyways. And that's going to be a fundamental mistake. And what will they do? They'll just call parents homophobic and then move on and just keep doing what they're doing. And that's what I'm getting from all this. And it's just very frustrating to see that this is the direction Disney's going.
By the way, I love drag queens. I think they're hilarious. I'm a fan of Divine, who's in a lot of John Waters movies. That was played by an actor named Glenn Milstead. huge fan of Divine for years. I have been to Drag Queen Brunch at Hamburger Mary's on Santa Monica Boulevard. They do a brunch where they give away prizes, Drag Queen Bingo. It's great adult humor. And I would never want to go to a show like that with children present. For one, I don't want kids to hear it. And number two, I don't want the drag queen to hold back because there are kids present, because a lot of drag queen humor is double entendres, right? There's like it's layered humor, and it's often very blue, very sexual. The kids should have no part of it. How is this? Look, for certain things, I love it. Like I said, been watching John Waters movies since I was a teenager, right? But children, I don't think I know I've had friends say, they disagree. I'm sorry, you don't have kids. I never exposed my kid to this kind of stuff. So I'm glad this is coming out, but I don't see Disney changing. It's in the culture. It's deep seated in the culture. Anything else? Let's play a little more of this. Okay, here we go.
We reported in Disney Tapes 1 and 2, Disney has spent recent years focusing more efforts on their seemingly strange take on diversity and less efforts on the type of content and entertainment that one would expect from a once so consistent family-oriented brand. Now, in Disney Tapes 1, we met Disney's Senior Vice President of Business Affairs attorney, Michael Giordano. As you'll recall, Michael made it clear that Disney not only blatantly discriminates in their hiring practices, they consistently pass over candidates who are more qualified for candidates who are less qualified, but check the boxes that are consistent with their DEI hiring philosophy.
Certainly, there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
this is kind of a rehash of the last report. You guys, will put the link to this in the description for the video. What else do you have to say about this, Alan?
Yeah, it's one thing if they had an audience for it, but to just force it in there, it just shows that it's like they're not trying to attract the audience they want. They're trying, they're not trying to attract the audience they have. They're trying to attract the audience they want, and by throwing this out there, they're losing the audience they have. The mainstay that has been holding this company afloat for almost 100, for over 100 years.
Right. Look, I when I was a young dad and my kids were little, I would filter things they would watch. But one thing I would never do was check out a Disney. My kids watch Disney Channel. They watch Disney movies. I didn't have to filter it. And then, to see in advance if there was anything objectionable. This is concerning because what it means, Disney is no longer a trusted brand. It's sad to say.
Yeah, I was over at that Park Place, Jonas. People were, when Inside Out 2 came out, people just hit them up. Is it safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? And thankful that movie was safe, but just the fact that Disney's gotten to the point where you have to ask that questions just tells you how far they've fallen.
Well, I hope that this gets more attention, that there are some changes that could be made. And look, we're not trying to shut down gay content. Like I said, I love drag queens. I've been to drag shows. They are fun for adults. That's all. That's all. Any final thoughts before we go to comments, Alan?
No, let's do this.
All right, let's start in the spirit. Let's start from the bottom and we'll go up.
Okay, great. From MK Solid, Alan should pose as a gay man and go undercover at Disney with his tape recorder.
You think he's not already doing that?
Oh, I ever told you my gay days story?
Oh, please go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, this was my wife and I were vacationing at Walt Disney World, and we were going to the Magic Kingdom one day. And by the way, this was the fall after, this was the winter after the Anaheim Angels won the World Series. And so I went there and wore my my Angels t-shirt, and which happened to be red. And we went to the Magic Kingdom, and we found out, it was gay days at Magic Kingdom, and everyone was wearing red, including me. And so I was this nice gay man escorting my wife around the Magic Kingdom. And it was back at the time where I guess what you did was when you wore your red shirt, you would put your AOL username on it so people can kind of hook up with you.
By the way, those unofficial days at Disneyland, they are organic. They're put together by fans. There is also, you just sort of know, there's also Bat Days, which is goth kids.
Yeah.
There's
Dapper Days.
Dapper Day. I like Dapper Day. I showed up on Dapper Day one day, not dressed up. It was so cool to see people like from the olden days in fancy wear. I like that.
Yeah. By the way, we had a blast on gay days. At least in the early aughts, the gay people, they were just open, and we were just having great conversations and lines. And so I'm not saying it was a bad thing that day.
It's much better when it's organic and not forced by a corporation.